Hey, what's going on, guys? Today we are going to take a look at the heroes from Celica's army. The heroes in this banner include Saber, Sonya, and Leon. In this series, I'm going to go over the heroes' base skills, then we'll take a look at some optimal builds. We are going to start it off with Saber. So Saber, I would say, is kind of underwhelming. He's not bad, but definitely not great. Base attack is kind of low. Speed is great, even though I would have liked it to be a little bit higher. He does come with high defense and pretty good HP, so his physical bulk is pretty good. The things that make him stand out is Shield Pulse and Slaying Edge. These two skills just work really well together. With his high defense and Shield Pulse, you can turn him into either a physical melee tank or physical range tank, depending on what special you give him. There's a lot of interesting things you can do with Shield Pulse with Saber and outside of Saber. However, even with Shield Pulse and Aegis, he does still struggle versus some mages because of his low resistance and his 33 speed. For his first set, we are going to try and make him a ranged counter. The damage calculator doesn't have Shield Pulse in the database yet, so I had to take some extra time analyzing it. So what I found out was that neutral Saber with this set still dies to any relevant skilled blue mages and some fast red mages like Deathblow Reinhardt, Lindy, Brashida, Delthea, Celica, and Tharja. The reason is because Saber only has 33 speed, so he gets doubled by many of those guys. If your Saber is plus speed, then this set is great to go. The only mage that can really one-round KO him at that point are Reinhardt and maybe a skilled Dire Thunder Alwyn. Any of the other mages I mentioned before can one-round Saber if only they get some sort of speed buff. The only way to survive Reinhardt is if you give him Miracle and Quicken Pulse, but that'll worsen the other matchups. What this build is really good at is for countering Dagger and Archers. He can survive an attack from Life and Death Kagero and even plus attack Quadelia. Basically, you can run this set with almost any kind of IVs besides minus speed. Plus speed will help him survive fast blue and some red mages like Celica, but you don't really need plus speed for green mages and archers. Here's a player phase bruiser build. Best IVs to run with this set is plus speed with minus resistance. It's really important to make sure he can double the enemy. Pavice's max cooldown is 2 and starts off at 0 thanks to Shield Pulse. That means when he initiates a fight in which he can double the enemy, Pavice should be at 1 charge cooldown after combat. That means that the next time he attacks an enemy in which he can double, Pavice is perfectly lined up to activate when the enemy counterattacks. His results against vanilla heroes is 65 wins and 0 losses. That is with Swift Sparrow equipped, but you can also go with Life and Death. His results with Life and Death is 73 wins and 0 losses. The only two heroes that can bring down Saber below 10 are Tsubaki and Sully because they have Sapphire Lance. But remember that these results are not counting the extra 5 damage reduction from Shield Pulse. You can go with either Threat Defense or Threat Speed for the C slot. It really depends on the buffs you have on your team. If you have someone with Hone Speed, then Saber doesn't really need Threat Speed, and the same concept goes with Hone Attack and Threat Defense. Last set for Saber is just a build without Shield Pulse, just a set used to duel greens and sword units. Any IVs can work with this set, even minus speed. Saber has pretty good defense, so with Triangle Depth he receives very low damage from physical greens. Swordbreaker will help him double sword enemies. He didn't have enough firepower to take out blues in the first place, so turning Saber into a green and sword counter isn't that bad of an option. Special really depends whether you use him on the player phase or enemy phase. Moonbow's 1 charge cooldown will activate every fight if you use him on the enemy phase, while Boundfire's 2 charge cooldown will activate on the second hit if he's able to double the enemy during the player phase. Sonya is kind of like a better Soren and a worse Julia. I only put her above Soren because of her weapon Dark Excalibur. Her stat spread is great. The noteworthy stat to look at is her high resistance. You can use her as a green and blue mage counter just like Julia. Speed being at 31 isn't that great, but you can work around that with plus speed IVs and a speed boosting skill in the 8th slot. Attack shouldn't matter too much as long as it wasn't under 30 because she has the Woe Dao Tome and that'll help her damage immensely. The best thing about her is her base skills. She comes with almost everything she needs. Moonbow works great with her weapon effect, and Resistance Ploy 3 is easy to proc and adds even more damage. Mirror Strike is okay, but I think it should be replaced with something that either gives her more magical bulk on the enemy phase or something that will grant her more speed on the player phase. It really depends on what type of playstyle you want to build for your Sonya. Here's a player phase set for Sonya. Pretty much just give her Darting Blow or Fury. Plus speed is pretty important because it raises her results from 57 wins to 81. But you can still roll with this set even with neutral speed. Just make sure you have someone equipped with threaten speed, or hone speed on your team. If you have quick impulse, this set becomes even better. Sonya can start off the stage with a 1 charge cooldown moonbow, which means she can activate moonbow and Dark Excalibur's effect for the first encounter, assuming that she doubles. Even though this is a player face set, you can still use her to bait Reinhardt, and if you happen to face a team with Reinhardt, you can bait Reinhardt, kill him off, and she'll be perfectly in desperation range. Just make sure you watch out for those Green Tome Breaker Julias and Blade Tome Cecilias because they can actually take out Sonya. Here's a set that you can for sure use with any kind of IVs. The purpose for this set is to make her into a dedicated blue and green mage counter. There's a lot of blue and green mages out there in the arena, and they can easily be killed off in the beginning of the match by using a G Tome Breaker Sonya or Julia. Even with a Bane and resistance, she can still take out neutral Fury Julia with Green Tome Breaker because the Green Tome Breakers cancel out with each other, and Sonya can double her because she has 5 more speed. Minus resistance, Sonya can even survive and kill off a plus attack or plus speed Blade Tome Nino with either Fury or Life and Death with Erica buffs. For Blade Tome Death Blow Cecilia, you gotta make sure she doesn't have the Home Cavalry buffs because Sonya will just get totally annihilated. In order for her to survive against that, she'll have to have plus resistance. I would recommend this over the first set just because it works so well in the meta. If you have Julia already, then don't bother with this set because she does a way better job. Alright, last hero is Leon. So there's 2 things to evaluate when there's a new archer. It's attack and speed. He has the second highest attack among the archers right now, right below Bride Cordelia. That's awesome and kind of boring because a Brave Bow set becomes the most obvious choice for builds. He also has a lot of defense, and that's very useful for finishing off Vantage Hector. Stats are amazing, but his skills will need a little bit of work. Slaying Bow is a nice addition. We definitely needed more bows in the game. It's still not a better bow than Fire Sweep Bow, and definitely not better than Brave Bow Plus. Speed plus 3 doesn't give him enough speed, and guard 3 just plain out sucks. Ignis is perfect if you plan to keep Slaying Bow, otherwise Bonfire is better. So for his first set, it's pretty standard for high attack slow archers. Give him Death Blow and Swordbreaker. Death Blow is an obvious staple for this guy, and the results are 79 wins and 4 losses versus all vanilla heroes. You can stick with his default special Ignis since the cooldown is lowered by 1. He may not be able to double that many heroes aside from sword heroes, but he can still get his charges for his special from just tanking physical enemies. He'll for sure live from the popular sword heroes like Ryoma and Xander since he has Swordbreaker. For his weapon, you could even just give him a normal Brave Bow, not the plus version but just Brave Bow. His results are 106 wins and 5 losses. Or you could just use 20k feathers and give him Brave Bow Plus and go with the next build. So you don't have to have plus attack IVs. Neutral attack is basically plus attack Klein. So essentially this is just an upgraded version of the first set. You don't have to give this guy Swordbreaker. Here's the results with and without Swordbreaker. You could just give him Wings of Mercy or even cancel Affinity to get through those Raven Tome Triangle Depth mages. Other than that, there's not really much to talk about. This build is pretty straightforward. That's it for this video. Hope you guys got something out of it. If you guys have builds of your own, feel free to share it with everyone in the comments. If you have any weird combinations of IVs for your heroes that you still need help on, or if you have any questions in general, go ahead and comment below. Lately, for some reason, I've stopped getting notifications for some of your guys' comments and replies, so asking me on Twitter is the best way if you want a fast reply. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.